Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to explore the ocean. So why I decided to make this topic as your academic listening exercise or test or even practice, yeah, because you have to know that in most of recent IELTS test cases, there are so many or there are various topics beside your subject. And in order to be able to know and understand different topic beside or outside your subject matter, in which English language or even education, you have to practice another topic or different topics beside your subject, in which English and language education. So that's why exploring the ocean or ocean itself related to a natural science that the topic mostly conducted or mostly included in most of listening tests, especially in the academic listening one. So before we start, let's open this meeting by reciting basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, again, I'm so sorry for this kind of issue is actually happening again, yeah. This issue is related to the automatically or automatic correction of the Canva whenever the size of the picture is actually bigger than expected. So I have to say sorry to you all for this kind of issue whenever I put or I show you a slide related to learning objectives, our learning objectives. Okay, so on this occasion, on this meeting, you are going to know and you are going to learn, yeah, and listening to an audio, a dialogue, a monologue, kind of monologue that related to the exploration, ocean exploration particularly, and the was it the topics related to the words about ocean life, natural resources, mining, yeah, and then you have to predicting answer from the context, in which the context specifically will be around ocean exploration, yeah, and you have to identifying keywords that related to the ocean exploration, and then you have to know statistic, yeah, or label that always happening that actually indicated the statistic or the display or the data related to the natural sciences. And then you have to understand statistic, and also you have to complete a diagram that indicate a certain or a particular picture that describe a specific terminological or technical term around the ocean exploration topic. So without any further ado, let's get started to the another slide. Okay, guys, after we finally found the answer for all the pictures on the previous slide, we have to match, yeah, the phrases with the definition, yeah, as we know that there is one word that actually missing or hasn't answered yet by Miss personally, yeah. There was third picture is actually a trawler, yeah. Trawler is like a big boat, a big ship that usually to catch a kind of fish, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So actually, trawler is a specific or a detailed pronunciation or well, not pronunciation, detailed vocabulary or word related to the ocean thingy, yeah, ocean thing that related to the ocean topics. So that's why trawler is not really common for me, including you maybe as an English education subject or department student. So you have to remember it as a one of the vocabularies that related to the ocean thingy at ocean thing. Yeah. Okay, so what we got here? The first one, offshore drilling. Yeah. Wave power, and then mineral, and the fourth one, fuel, and the fifth one, trawler, and the last one, rig. Yeah. So you have to match the prices with its definition. Do you guys, yeah? So while you are completing this one, or after you completing this one, you are able to know several vocabularies that actually detailed and particularly found on such a topic that related to the ocean exploration. So you have to know there are a lot of vocabularies outside there, and what is it beside your subject that actually really make you confused somehow, yeah. But don't worry, you can figure it out, yeah, or you can figure it out by practicing it more, more often or regularly. Okay, so what we got here, there are six phrases that you have to match it atau those with its own definition. Okay? Okay guys, do you still remember the first ever material that we ever discussed on your first level while entering the college? It was a minimal pairs. Ya, masih ingat nggak minimal pairs ya? Actually, minimal pairs is basic or the basic foundation skill for your skill while listening to an English audio conversation or even monologue ya. Because in terms of minimal pairs, there are some or there are several words that actually sound the same, similar to each other, yet in terms of its meaning, its lexical is totally different. Yeah. So you have to figure it out. You have to decide. You have to know. You have to be able to listen a certain word with its actual meaning. Yeah. So you cannot or you will not be, yeah, what is it, found atau find difficult or challenge while listening to a certain topic of academic listening, because as we know, as we discussed before, there are some vocabularies or maybe many vocabularies that you are unfamiliar with, ya contohnya kayak tadi banyak beberapa vocabulary yang mungkin kalian belum pahami atau belum kenal ya secara secara menyeluruh atau secara detail gitu ya. So you have to pay attention to its minimal pairs. Ya. So on this slide there are six phrases that indicate or that share or that display a kind of sound or vocabulary that really similar to each other. It sounds similar in terms of its pronunciation, yet it's totally different in terms of its meaning. Yeah. So we have take a look it. The first one, oil is non-renewable source of power. Yeah, so what is the answer then? Either sauce or source. Sauce or source. Sauce or source. Yeah, you can guess it by yourself. And the second one, fishing boats often spend many months at sea. 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 It's totally sound the same, yeah. Identically, yeah. Identically, yeah. C. C. Which one is the correct one? You can guess it by yourself. And then the third one, the melting ice caps have affected the level of the ocean. Okay? Which one is correct one? You can guess it by yourself. And then fourth one, are or knowledge of the deepest parts of the ocean is increasing. Are or our, yeah. Are or our, yeah. Are or our knowledge of the deepest part of the ocean is increasing. Which one is the correct one? Okay, I'll handle it to you. Yeah. Fifth one, wave power is generated when waves break on the shore. Break or break on the shore. Okay. And the last one, ocean currents, currents, cur- currents, not currents, currents and currents, yeah. Currents, yeah. Control the weather across the globe. Okay. If there is some a mispronounced word, you can check it by yourself, yeah. Because I think the best one to know whether the correct one is A or it's B or maybe both of them are wrong, are incorrect. You can check the pronunciation itself by yourself, yeah, personally, because in this meeting, you are going to explore more about it through discovery learning. So if the pronunciation that kind of or still unclear sounds unclear to you, you can check it by yourself, yeah, in order to know to the exact pronunciation of it, and in order to know, yeah, in order to you to get exploration of it. Because if you find something or found something that is really really needed by you, you can learn it by yourself. So actually it's kind of exploration or discovery learning that we need for this kind of topic about ocean exploration. Yeah, so you have to decide which of the word that actually acquainted, yeah, atau related to the ocean exploration topic. Okay, that's it. Next to the next slide. Okay. Okay, guys. First thing first, yeah, you have. It's not actually a first thing first. It's actually a continuing your understanding toward this issue or this topic about ocean exploration. While exploring the ocean, there is always a data that indicated the deepest of the ocean or the sea level, or maybe the data for its current atau current what is it oil or maybe gas or so on, yeah, and etc, ya, dan seterusnya. Okay, so trends and statistic in a kind of natural sciences was it topics are actually common. Yeah, statistic are the numbers which record fact like the number of birds, yeah, and that's in a year, and word that describe these numbers in relation to the whole group. 113 fishing boats were lost at sea last year. So, statistic is a kind of method, I think, or a technique, or even a number that indicate something or something quantitatively, yeah, or quantitatively, okay, something in terms of its quantity, yeah. You can see there are a lot of numbers here written on a statistic terms, yeah. So you have to remember that in a kind of natural sciences topics, in every academic topics, there is always a data that will indicate a fact or uh, an actual existing what is it existing phenomenon, I think, yeah. So it's actually necessary for you and needs for you, also a must, yeah, it might be a must for you to know a lot about statistic and a lot of number pronunciation, yeah, because it will lead you to make your listening skill be more improved whenever you listen to a data spoken by the speakers related to ocean exploration, for example. Okay, the next one, trends describe patterns of change in social behavior or environmental conditions over a period of time and might tell us how much they are have changed. Okay. Trends since 2009, interest in wave power has increased significantly. Okay, so actually trends really commonly happen, yeah, on our daily life, even on our communication or interaction. But for the academic context or area, trans is something like a period of a time, a period of something that happened, yeah, because the example here indicated there is a period of something, a period of particular thing, yeah. For example, dramatic rise and then in fish farming over the last 10 years. Yeah, there is an issue and also the period of the issue itself. So it's indicated the period of something that is being discussed. Gitu ya. So in terms of this topic on your listening exercise and task, you are going to listen an audio related to dialogue and monologue that discuss a trend and statistic around ocean exploration. So get ready, ya guys, because on the next slide, I will provide you with the video yeah, of ocean exploration topic that you have to listen to the audio. It both can be both monologue or dialogue. So you have to pay attention, and so you have to prepare your note to take a very important point, yeah, in order to make you easier in deciding or answering the question. Best of luck. Okay, guys, for this listening test, you are going to listen a dialogue and monologue related to the ocean exploration. Yeah. So they are going to be 6 minutes long for the audio, and the question will be about 10, if I'm not mistaken, started from number 21 until 30. Yeah, so you can take a note during listening, but the audio, unfortunately, not gonna be played twice. It will be played only once. Yeah, so you have to be prepared and get ready.
You will hear part of a seminar on ocean research given by a climate scientist. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Thanks to all of you for coming along today to hear about how the robotic float project is helping with ocean research. Well, first of all, we'll look at what a robotic float does and its use. So let's start with the device itself. It looks a bit like a cigar, and it's about 1.5 meters long. More importantly, it's full of equipment that's designed to collect data. So it can help us in building up a profile of different factors which work together within the world's oceans.
Sounds like a big project. Isn't it too big for one country to undertake?
That's quite true, but this project is a really good example of international cooperation. Over the last 5 years, scientists from 13 countries have been taking part in the project and launching floats in their area of ocean control. And next year, this number will rise to 14 when Indonesia joins the project.
That's impressive.
But let's move on to how floats work. The operational cycle goes like this. Each of the floats is dropped in the ocean from a boat at a set point and activated from a satellite. Then the float immediately sinks about 2,000 meters. That's 2 whole kilometers down in the water. It stays at this depth for about 10 days and is carried around by the currents which operate in the ocean at this level. During this time, it's possible for it to cover quite large distances, but the average is 50 kilometers.
So, what is it actually recording?
Well, at this stage, nothing. But as it rises to the surface, it collects all sorts of data. Most importantly, variations in salinity, that's salt levels, and the changes in temperature, a bit like underwater weather balloons. Then, when it gets back to the surface, all the data it's collected is beamed up to the satellite. After about 5 hours on the surface, the float automatically sinks, beginning the whole process again.
What happens to the data?
Well, the information is transferred direct to onshore meteorological stations, like our one in Hobart, and within 4 hours the findings can be on computers, and they can be mapped and analysed.
Before you hear the rest of the seminar, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30. You say you're building models of the world's ocean systems, but how are they going to be used? And more importantly, when?
Some of the data has already helped in completing projects. For example, our understanding of the underlying causes of El Niño events is being confirmed by float data. Another way we're using float data is to help us to understand the mechanics of climate change, like global warming and ozone depletion. That's part of an ongoing variability study, but the results are still a long way off. However, this is not the case with our ocean weather forecasting. Because we know from the floats what the prevailing weather conditions will be in certain parts of the ocean, we can advise the Navy on search and rescue missions. That's happening right now, and many yachtsmen owe their lives to the success of this project. In addition, the float data can help us to look at the biological implications of ocean processes.
Would that help with preserving fish stocks?
Yes, and advising governments on fisheries legislation. We're well on the way to completing a project on this. We hope it will help to bring about more sustainable fishing practices. We'll be seeing the results of that quite soon.
It sounds like the data from floats has lots of applications.
Yes, it does. It's also a powerful agricultural tool. If we were aware of what the weather would be like, say, next year, we could make sure that the farmers planted appropriate grain varieties to produce the best yield from the available rainfall.
That sounds a bit like science fiction, especially when now we can't even tell them when a drought will break.
I agree that this concept is still a long way in the future, but it will come eventually, and the float data will have made a contribution.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, guys, so for this listening exercise for this meeting, or of this meeting, you are going to listen several dialogues and monologue related to the course, seminar related to the ocean exploration. So you have to pay attention and listen carefully. Let's get started. Okay, before you begin to start listening, so you have to read this one first. Exam information labeling diagram. When you are yeah asked when you are asked to label a visual such as a diagram, map, or a set of pictures, or complete a flowchart, you may have to select the correct answers from a list of options, or you may have to select words from the recording and keep to specified word limit. So have you to remember that while labeling a diagram, so you have to match the diagram with its word, with its vocabulary. Yeah. You may select the correct answer from a list of options. So in an IELTS listening, there is always an option provided by the test maker, So you have to be careful while choosing or deciding the correct answer of the question. So you have to be careful then when you already chosen a specific alphabet or specific answer. Yeah. Please recheck it before you submit it finally. You have to recheck the exact visual and its word or term or even the vocabulary or meaning. Gitu. Jadi harus di-recheck ulang whether the picture correlates with its meaning, word, or the vocabulary yet. Begitu ya. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, guys, for the first audio that you have to listen to, there is a direction. Listen to talk about the structure on an offshore oil rig and label the diagram. So there are 4 questions related to the structure of an offshore or oil rig, yeah, offshore oil rig. And you have to label the name of its structure. Started from the highest or the tip of the structure of oil rig, the first one. And then the second one and the third one will be at the below, I think below of the main foundation or structure of the oil rig that almost touch the surface of the ocean. Yeah, and the last one, the fourth one, what is this? You have to listen to the audio carefully. Since the audio that I have provided is such a long part of the listening task from unit from the whole unit, you have to choose and you have to take a look at the 35 audio or the audio number 35 since the audio will lead you to listen to this part. Yeah. Okay. Okay guys, sorry, I made a mistake on the previous slide, yeah. So for the first audio, you have to check out the 34 audio, yeah. For the labeling diagram of the structure of the oil rig or offshore oil rig, you have to check out audio number 34, yeah. Audio number 35 is definitely aim for this one, for the second exercise that you have to listen and you have to do, yeah. So you have to check out audio number 34 and 35, yeah. So in this audio or on this audio number 35, yeah, you have to hear an engineer talking about using the sea to generate electricity. Complete the values for the capacity in megawatts, yeah, in the years below, 1 until 4. Then plot the points on the graph and draw the trend line. Yeah, so you have to guess, yeah. There are 4 questions provided on this exercise. The first question is the year of 2008. Number 2 is the year of 2029, and the rest are 2020, 2012, and 2014. So you have to listen to the audio to guess the answer correctly and appropriately. Okay, that's all, guys. I will provide the audio and will be attached along with this exercise. Okay, that's all for our material today. Thank you so much, guys. See you next week, and let's close this meeting or this material by reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, see you next week, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.